the pleurisy root is flowering. Often you have this just beautiful array of these great orange flowers, also known as butterfly weed because it attracts monarch butterflies. Monarchs feed on milkweeds. And so whether this is a milkweed, whether it's the common milkweed, whether it's pleurisy root, whether it's the swamp milkweed, any of them. And so I highly recommend for people who have areas to grow these plants, because this used to be, like for instance, when I used to travel back and forth to North Carolina, literally, 6-7 times a year, I was constantly going back and forth. When I would go down Route 81 down south, I would see tons of pleurisy root on the sides of the road. And over the years, it got less and less and less and less. And what was happening is wildcrafters were coming and taking it. And of course, I would be the first to tell you that the last place I want to harvest pleurisy root from is along the side of a busy highway. But nevertheless, it eventually got to the point where you didn't see it at all. So definitely a tremendous loss of the sort of essential food source for monarch butterflies. Anyway, the part of this that's used is the root. And so that means, again, every time you harvest the plant, you kill the plant. So therefore, you want to cultivate it. And pleurisy root, named after the fact that it was used to treat pleurisy. And think of it, again, remember, it hurts to breathe. So when a patient says it hurts to breathe, immediately in your head, you should be thinking, pleurisy root. The reality is, it is not just useful for that, it's also useful for things like damp heat coughs. It's also used for inflammation of the muscles between the ribs. Usually there I mix it with things like black haw. The eclectics actually used it a lot for irritation of the gastrointestinal tract, not a use that's commonly talked about today. They also used it for treating certain types of arthralgias. And think of it for basically fevers with bronchial congestion. Again, and it's either hard to breathe or hurts to breathe. It's not an herb you're using a lot of. You're using a fairly small dose with other things, but it's highly effective.